The city is forcing homeless people living in this park to leave. Now they're fighting back in court.
A fugitive is on his way back to San Diego tonight to face charges in a 6-year-old murder case.
A lawsuit filed against several local school districts regarding online learning. More on the claims.
We're hearing about a housing recession. Whether you're buying or selling in Paradise, one real estate agent says it's far from a recession.
And meet the husband and wife who rescued a family of ducklings from a storm drain and returned them to their mother.
And it's not exactly the car you remember. An up-close look at the new electric DeLorean. CBS 8 News live at 6 starts right now.
People experiencing homelessness living at a Chula Vista Park are heading to court, hoping to stop the city from kicking them out. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
And I'm Steve Price. In tonight from Marcella. The city plans to close that park tomorrow, but the people living there say they have nowhere else to go and need more time and resources. Dozens of people living in Harborside Park right now fighting to stay. They've filed a federal lawsuit asking a judge for a temporary restraining order that will prevent the city from kicking them out. The city wants to shut the park down tomorrow.
The problem is the folks right here at Chula Vista City Hall that have done so little to help people experiencing homelessness in the city and are just moving people from one sidewalk to another.
Homeless advocates say people living in the park have nowhere else to go, and it's right next to a county health and human services office where they can get medical help.
It is the second largest city in San Diego County, and there is no shelter for homeless people.
Last week, city leaders approved closing the park. It's a move that was sparked by frustrated parents because the park is right next to an elementary school, and police have arrested people here with drugs and weapons.
None of us want the park to be a home. That's not good for anybody.
McConnell says instead of closing the park, the city should create a safe environment here with security. That would buy everyone more time to find the people living in the park some permanent housing.
It's going to cost lives. That's not a question. There's going to be someone from Harborside that passes due to the lack of resources here in Chula Vista.
The federal lawsuit with a dozen plaintiffs claims the city is violating their civil rights. They're asking for a judge to halt tomorrow's evictions until their case can be heard in court. City officials say they're not aware of the lawsuit, but issued a statement saying, in our opinion, the city council's decision to temporarily close Harborside Park was approved in accordance with all applicable laws and can lawfully be acted upon. The record showed the conditions and conduct at the park clearly pose a substantial risk to the public health and safety of persons using the park and in the surrounding neighborhood. As a result, the city is moving forward with its plan to close the park tomorrow, surrounding it with fencing that will remain up for at least 3 months. All right, it is already hot outside, and after a short break from all that humidity we've had, guess what? It's coming back later this week.
Yeah, it's rough now, and it's only going to get worse. Meteorologist Sean Stiles here now with a first look at your forecast. Sean, how bad is it going to get?
I'll tell you what, boys, we're looking at a major heat wave, extended dangerous heat coming to Southern California. Today was the first taste of that. We've got an excessive heat warning, which was issued at 12:30 this afternoon. It will last through Labor Day till 8 p.m. I suspect it could even be extended beyond that. And look at how big it is, from the coastline all the way into the Imperial County, northward up into Oceanside, the Orange County, Oceanside area, also up into the Riverside, San Bernardino counties, on up into the San Joaquin Valley, even up into the Monterey Bay area. They're looking at excessive heat watch. This is going to be tremendous heat, and this is the forecast model for tomorrow's temperatures. Low 100s in many locations, upper 90s, even out to the coastline will be pushing into the mid 80s. And as far as the next 3 days are concerned, tomorrow will be the hottest. We'll see a slight cool down along the coastline and a little bit more in the inland valleys, but don't think you're out of the woods by the time we get to Friday, because come Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even Tuesday, inland microclimates into the 100s. I'll have your complete forecast in just a bit.
Thanks, Sean. A fugitive on the U.S. Marshals Most Wanted list has been arrested more than 2,000 miles away in El Salvador. Tonight, Raymond McLeod is on his way back to San Diego to face charges for the murder of his girlfriend 6 years ago. As CBS 8's David Goffredson reports, the arrest has been a long time coming for the victim's mother.
I knew it was coming. I was, I have been working with the U.S. Marshals hand in hand for about 6 years now since my daughter was murdered.
These photos show the arrest of 37-year-old Raymond McLeod Monday afternoon in El Salvador. The former Marine was on the U.S. Marshals Most Wanted list for the murder in 2016 of his girlfriend, 30-year-old Crystal Mitchell.
It's been over 6 years, and it's just surreal that, you're running after somebody after all these years, and all of a sudden, everything stops.
Josephine Wenzel is the victim's mother and a former detective who never gave up hope finding justice for her daughter. She worked closely with the U.S. Marshal's Office, posting photos of the suspect on social media and tracking down leads in Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and finally, this most recent tip in El Salvador.
He had an assumed name, a Canadian name, and he was using a Canadian passport, and he was working in a small town in El Salvador teaching English.
McLeod and Mitchell were from Phoenix, staying with friends in San Diego at the time of the murder. Mitchell, a mother of two, was found beaten and strangled in an Allied Gardens apartment off Mission Gorge Road.
And so I feel an accomplishment for Crystal, for my daughter. She must be laughing in heaven and saying, right on, Mom, you go on, Mom. And that's been my motivation. It's justice for my daughter and my grandchildren.
Last year, the U.S. Marshals put out a $50,000 reward for McLeod's arrest. The victim's mother is glad the manhunt is over, but she feels for other families still looking for closure.
I share tears for the families that don't have this resolution, that don't have the person that killed their child or don't even have the body.
Now, McLeod is expected to arrive overnight here in San Diego, and he will be arraigned, we expect, on that murder charge in San Diego Superior Court later this week.
David, we know Crystal Mitchell had 2 children. What do we know about them right now? How are they doing?
The fugitive was not those children's father. The kids were ages 5 and 6 at the time of the murder. We're told they're now in junior high school, and the grandmother tells us that they are aware of recent developments.
It's a heavy burden for them. David Grofferson reporting live. Thanks, David. A man is behind bars tonight after an hours-long standoff with a SWAT team in a neighborhood near Palomar Mountain. Just after 9 this morning, deputies got reports of an assault with a deadly weapon at a home in Palma Valley. We're told the man ran from his home into a nearby field and ignored deputies' orders to surrender, but a SWAT team was called in for backup. As you can see here, he surrendered right about 2:30 this afternoon, gave up peacefully. Ultimately, no one was hurt.
Right now, Carlsbad is reviewing its state of emergency over bikes and e-bikes. Council members set to decide whether they're going to go ahead and extend it. Now, this all comes as the city is seeing a sharp rise in collisions. The declaration will allow the city to focus on resources to prevent more crashes. The meeting started about an hour or so ago. We're going to update you as soon as a decision is made. And a bill expanding abortion access in California is now headed to Governor Newsom's desk. It would allow qualified nurse practitioners to perform first trimester abortions without a supervising physician. It was penned by Senate Pro Tem Tony Atkins, who represents District 39 right here in San Diego. Atkins says that the bill would help women get timely and essential care despite a growing doctor shortage across our state. A separate bill heading to the governor protects people from being prosecuted for abortion or pregnancy loss.
Earlier this year, the real estate market was red hot. Sellers were seeing multiple offers, many well over asking price, and homes were sold after just days on the market.
Well, now the latest trend is a spike in housing cancellations, and it's all due to higher mortgage rates. Some experts fear a housing recession.
CBS 8's Abby Alford explains the latest on buying and selling in Paradise.
Real estate agents say that we're not in a housing recession. Rather, the market is stabilizing, meaning homes like this with fantastic views are remaining on the market for about 30 to 45 days, which was typical pre-pandemic. panoramic views of San Diego Bay, Mount Soledad, and the Pacific. Yet this 2+ bedroom, 2-bath, 2,500 square foot smart home priced at $2.3 million in Bay Park has been sitting on the market since May.
I mean, everything's brand new, all the plumbing, electrical. It kind of surprises me, yeah.
We spoke to the homeowner, Kim Alger, over Zoom while she and her husband are vacationing in Wisconsin.
We're not really motivated at this point. We love our home and we're retired, so it's time to get out and travel and do things and see if we can sell it.
Like Alger, real estate agents say sellers want to get in on the hot housing market, but with the interest rates going from below 3% during the pandemic to 6.5% today, buyers are not as eager.
I saw a funny meme of a skeleton sitting on a bench and it says, waiting for the house market to crash. Still waiting. So we may not see a crash.
Frank Powell listed Alger's home and is also the president-elect for the San Diego Association of Realtors and says in July, the average median home price was $969,000. Although the market has cooled off, sales in San Diego County are up 9% compared to last year.
So we're seeing buyers from New York come here, buyers from Silicon Valley, buyers from San Francisco.
But are they the reason why they're driving it up and why middle class has a hard time buying a house?
So if you want to solve the problem, you got to build more houses.
Powell says there's another challenge out there that younger buyers are bypassing their starter homes.
What we're seeing is people saying, I want my dream house or something they can't afford on any grounds.
The real estate agent suggests starting small will be a big payoff.
If you can get into the market just buying something small like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo, get in there. You may have to have sacrifices, but that's how you start your generational wealth.
Here are 3 takeaways if you're planning to buy or sell. Frank says first, you need to plan this out, whether this be 1 to 2 years or 5 years down the road. Also, find out where do you want to live and how much do you want to spend. Remember, it doesn't hurt to have a licensed real estate agent help you out.